Hey now, how it do today? Let me just do some Webovision adjustments again. Hey everybody, welcome to Lurking with Attitude episode 5. I'm Kmar. This is now the 5th episode, which is hard for me to believe. I'm really thrilled that it's going as well as it is, and today's guest will prove to be extremely entertaining and informative. I want to express my gratitude to all of those of you who are tuning in and supporting Lurking with Attitude right here on Instagram Sundays at 4:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'm having some tea. I'm trying to relax. My THC levels are low. I think our first guest may be able to help with that. And, I want to get in to him being on screen as quickly as possible. We met a couple of years ago at the Fare Thee Well web.
So, I guess I'm going to be looking at 2 cameras today. Here's a bong hit for you whenever you feel like it.
Nice. Perfect. I really need it.
Lighter.
Awesome. Go boss.
Hello, everyone.
This is our special guest, subject expert, Matt Macosko. Thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, no problem.
I am happy to have you here because of your insightful knowledge. You have a vast wealth of information that you can share with us today. And, Matt has some of the most genuine and authentic virtues and values in a person that I've ever met. His business and family ethics are beyond comparison. I don't know anybody else really that does what you do, and I really feel like you're an exemplary example of how one should live their life.
Thank you.
Well, your business, Divine Tribe, why don't you tell us a little bit about how that was established and what you do?
The brand Divine Tribe has sold many different things. Basically, I've used that name for selling hemp clothing and selling cannabis vaporizers. And right now, it's mainly cannabis vaporizers. I'd like to get back into hemp clothing again, but at the moment, I'm doing vaporizers. So the name basically started from me being a Deadhead and liking Grateful Dead shows, and I always tripped out when I was at a Dead show. I'd be high and stuff, and I'd always think I was around these people who were from a tribe or something, and it always kind of tripped me out how it was nomadic back in the day, and people would travel from one area to another, and they all kind of just helped each other get to shows and stuff, and everyone kind of took the same route. And the way they used to plan out the Dead shows back in the day, they would plan them out with a national park in between one show and another, and leave a few days in between the shows, so people had time to enjoy the parks or whatever between the next show. Now they're just you got to catch a plane to get to a show, the next one or whatever. There's not really a caravan of people, but I always kind of tripped out because I always thought that caravan at the time was mystical and divine, and it felt like a tribe to me. And I also got that feeling at a lot of reggae festivals and reggae circuits too. So that name kind of came out from that, and I've kind of stuck with it till this day. I started with hemp clothing, and I always wanted to be doing something that I enjoyed, and I felt that hemp clothing and selling hemp clothing and the market that I would have to sell it in would be an enjoyable market, like a festival, for instance, having a booth at a festival and selling my hemp clothing brand, or actually just dealing with people who have eco-friendly clothing stores. They always seem to be cool people to talk to and just get to know in person and become friends with. So I always wanted to be doing something that I enjoyed the market, and I enjoyed I enjoyed talking about it and using it myself. So hemp clothing was really something nice, and I was investing in it for quite some time, and then I had some financial problems and wasn't able to keep investing. And then I started investing in vaporizers because I wasn't happy with the vaporizers in 2012, let's say. They just weren't affordable and they weren't practical. They were kind of like more for e-cigarettes, and people were just trying to get them to work for dabs, and it didn't seem like any people who actually liked using cannabis concentrate were designing them. So with the experience I had from importing hemp clothing for several years from China, I used that same experience to get in touch with manufacturers who are making these vaporizers in China right now, and change things about the way they manufacture them and direct it more toward wax and shatter consumption. And that's basically what I've been doing since 2012, and it's been about 8 years now. So, and I've got about 4 or 5 different designs that I've made throughout the years, and I'm selling a few other designs that my manufacturer thought of, and here I am today.
What about the language barrier? It seems to me that there would have been so many particular details that discussing things in English and Chinese would be a hard language barrier.
Well, first time I've been to China 4 times. The first time I went there, I used an interpreter, and I had a friend who I knew over here in the States, and she had a friend who was over there teaching English, and it just happened to be in an area where there were a lot of hemp clothing factories. So I met up with her, and I used her as an interpreter, and I was in China for a month, I think, the first time. And she introduced me to another person, and we actually flew to a couple places in China, and I flew him to some factories to do some interpretation, and it seemed that there was always someone at one of the factories that could speak English. And since that first visit, I haven't needed an interpreter, and most people who want to do business, worldwide business, or try to learn English pretty quickly because they realize that's one of the biggest markets, or English speaking countries, I imagine.
Wow, interesting. What kind of products do you offer at your website, ineedhemp.com?
Right now, I offer portable vaporizers for cannabis concentrates.
Can I show the folks the one that you brought us today?
Yeah, and I dry herb atomizers. Basically, these are just parts that work and are compatible with e-cigarette mods. So if you're familiar with an e-cigarette mod, a temperature-controlled mod, my atomizers are compatible and will work on these mods.
Fantastic. This is amazing packaging. Can you tell us a little bit about Divine Crossing?
Divine Crossing, I'm Divine Tribe, and my manufacturer is Crossing Tech, and we've done a few collaborations together, and this is actually a device that he manufactured. It's called an e-rig. It's a portable water filtration cannabis concentrate bubbler, basically, and it has one button, so it's really easy to use, and it comes with 3 coils, and it has 4 different heat settings, and basically it's a lot easier to use than the atomizers and vaporizers that I've designed, but it won't give you as much a degree of different types of usage and stuff. You can get a few different types of usage out of mine, but this one is just kind of set, and it's basically set for what the majority of people want to do. So if you're not too much into vaporizing, I wouldn't really recommend my vaporizers over this unit right here, which is called the Core, because this thing is just really simple. My units are kind of like stereos. You gotta learn how to do the presets and learn how to set the treble and the bass, and if this isn't something you really want to do or read instructions and stuff, I wouldn't recommend getting one of my units. I would recommend just getting one that my manufacturer made, which is the core. It's an all-in-one, and there's a lot of different brands on the market that are similar. This one's priced at $200 on my website, which is we feel very competitive, and we feel it's engineered pretty well. It has a high-speed USB charger, and it keeps a charge a lot longer than most other e-rigs that are on the market. I would say that's a little too much water. You might get a little splashback.
Sure.
So we'll just pour that in there a little bit.
All right.
Would you like me to help dab tend you here?
Sure, that'd be fantastic.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll make sure we have Q-tips ready and rubbing alcohol.
Okay.
Or just Q-tips at least.
I have the Q-tips
right.
that came with it. I had.
Got to keep the etiquette going for dabbing, folks. You know.
Tell us more a little bit about the different bowls or whatever that is that might be helpful for other folks to know.
Okay, so this unit right here, the core comes with a removable coil, and these coils cost about $10 to replace. You can actually replace just the heater inside, and I sell those heaters for 3 heaters for $10. Actually, the coils are a little more on my website. They're like $15. But the heaters are 3 for $10, and those are, if you want, you can just replace the heater inside, and they don't really go out. You can just, if you want to clean this one, you just unscrew this top part, pull out the quartz cup, torch the quartz cup, and then you can soak the rest in rubbing alcohol and it'll work like new. These coils rarely go out, unlike the competition, where a lot of their coils do go out quite quickly. So yeah, this one comes with a quartz cup, a titanium cup, and a triple wrapped titanium coil where the coils are exposed. Some of my customers just swear by that one because it just gives thicker hits than I personally want, but a lot of people need these like really thick, milky hits, and that we pretty much want to offer a coil that does it for everyone. And I believe this core unit, it's been selling really well. Probably will do the trick for most people. So what we're going to do is I'll give you a quick demo on how it works. You click this button twice, and this green setting is the highest setting. It has 4 different settings: green, white, blue, and red, and the heat varies from those different colors. And what you do is you just let it heat up. It'll vibrate once when it's ready, and then it'll stay on for about 40 seconds, and then it'll vibrate when it's done. If you're not happy with the way that it still has oil still in there, you can easily just press the button here, and it'll keep hitting. It'll keep the coil hot and keep it going, so you can finish your bowl.
I love how easy it is to use. See, it just
so here you go.
It just buzzed, and
now
so that means it's ready
up.
to use,
yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You just
and
use
you just
it.
Tap this slightly as you're hitting it, and let the air kind of come in. And he's dabbing on some nice rosin from one of my friends who makes it in Willow Creek, California. So I think you got a nice hit. I'm going to actually help finish it here. So I'm going to press this down to keep it going right there.
I like it because it is manageable. It doesn't make me cough too hard.
A lot of people, this is definitely set for lower temperatures. Depending on how well you use this carb cap and effective you use it, you can get really thick clouds, but for the most part it'll give you nice low temp hits, which is what a lot of people want. They're spending a lot of money on these concentrates. They want to get that terpene. They want to taste the terpenes in their hit. That's why they're spending so much, is because with fresh concentrates and fresh frozen concentrates and rosins, they're able to preserve these terpenes, which produce the entourage effect, which produce the effect that makes you feel couch locked, or which produces the effect that makes you feel like you have energy, and if you're not getting those terpenes and you're not getting them to where you can define and taste them, it's not really worth paying all that much money. You should just pay for a cheaper hash that because you don't really care about the delivery, it would seem.
Can you tell us a little bit more about terps and cannabinoids?
Terpenes are basically what creates the smell and it's the oils in cannabis, and it's what creates the taste. And basically, we're just scratching the surface with all of this right now. We're learning to identify them. We're able to do get lab results based and see how much terpenes you have of one or another in your strains. And from that, I think once marijuana is federally legal, we'll be able to start testing these terpenes with, say, a specific amount of THC and a specific amount of CBD with these specific terpenes, and that will be what the ratio is to heal breast cancer. Or this will be the ratio that's needed to cure seizures from epileptics. Or this will be what is used to help people with Crohn's disease, or this is what's used for appetite. We're finally able to map these things out, and before the last 5 or 10 years, we haven't really been able to do it in a cheap way, and it hasn't been able basically the access to do this hasn't been around. So as we're able to do this, we're going to discover more about the plant, and I personally believe that the plant is a cure-all, and there's so many different compounds in cannabis, and the terpenoids, the cannabinoids, that it can, with unlocking all these combinations with one another, it can possibly heal everything. A lot of Japanese and Japanese culture believe that ginseng and certain ages of ginseng are heal-alls, and in a lot of other cultures, people believe that certain herbs can heal everything if it's the right type or done in the right way. Well, I believe this about cannabis, and I'm very interested in seeing all types of tests happen in the future. I want to see tests open up at every college where they can just bring people in who have cancer and start testing these terpenes on them, and start mapping out different strains that can really help people. And I want to create a device, and I've always wanted to create a device that can deliver all these things to you the way that, in the safest way possible, without any off-gassing or anything. And basically that's where I'm at. The tests are far and few, and we need to really release open up the floodgates to testing and allow all colleges across the country to do it, and access to cannabis. Basically, it should be free and as easy to grow as a tomato in your front yard, and everyone should have access and learn how to grow it and do it in their area. Maybe a certain strain might be better in a certain area than another one, and people need to find this information out, and they need to basically be able to produce their own medicine that's been safe and effective in every culture for thousands and thousands of years. But in this last 50 to 75 years, this culture now, or this time now, we've kind of demonized it, and we're all realizing it was wrong and everything, but we should be far past any kind of regulation and basically open it up, and make it as easy and accessible as aspirins. I believe they're safer than aspirins.
Well, that kind of brings me to my next question about the regulations and how do we open up testing and so on and so forth with regulation to who can grow what amounts. It seems to me that there's a lot of people that have been stifled by the compliance regulations and certifications and licenses, and so do you know of people that have not been able to continue to be farmers, or is there still opportunity to expand who is growing so that more people can be a part of an industry instead of there being more of a corporate takeover?
I think the problems are complex with how cannabis has been regulated and legalized. I feel that we needed it legalized and everything, but at the same time, it's so complex the way that they did it that it's not really fair. A lot of mom and pops didn't have the know-how to stay in it. Maybe you had a 5-lighter in your garage, but there were 10,000 people in a county doing it, you know, and it created a market and an economy where people were spending money in that town. But it's not just the legalization aspect and everything. There were other things at play, you know. Certain counties didn't allow the indoor grow to exceed a certain amount of wattage, and if it did, you got charged 4 times more on your power. And there were all these different ways that kind of booted the indoor grower. It made it a lot harder for the small mom and pop's indoor grower, which I believe indoor growing is probably the best. Indoor grown herb is probably the best herb that you can smoke. If you give, or vape, if you give someone an indoor grow opportunity and you give them an outdoor grow opportunity, just the fact that you can control an indoor environment to your optimal outdoor perfectness. I'm not saying that outdoor herb hasn't been killer in the past, or a certain thing will come around that's outdoor and it'll look perfectly like indoor. Those outdoor conditions for that strain were perfect and brought out the best in that strain. But if that same person wanted to replicate it indoor, they can probably do it indoor. And not having herb that looks weathered and having herb that just looks as keefy and crystally as possible, indoor herb is pretty much what I choose and what a lot of my friends choose to use, you know. And I do like outdoor herb, and I do like herb grown in greenhouses, but indoor herb preferably, just because the chances are it was done better. And I like soil grown herb because it seems like soil keeps a lot of the terpenes in the herb more so than 9 out of 10 hydroponic grows.
There you have it. Hey, guess who's here, everybody?
It's Barky McBarkface.
Hi, Don.
And you know what that means. That means it's time for our
Very special musical presentation today. Today's performance is going to be a little out there. We are going to see and hear the most amazing new entertainer ever, I think. He's getting ready right now, but you might remember him from the last couple of episodes. He was here 2 weeks ago. That was Bob Starace. Last week, Bob had a fantastic performance. What was the name of that song you played last week on the Mando?
2 Irish songs. It was called the Roscommon Reel, and another one, it's got a funny name called Cranking Out.
Nice.
But it's from Ireland.
Wow. But we're going to switch over to Bobby Starace, everybody.
Coming on.
All right, we're relying on technology here. Hopefully all will go well. Loop time.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Bob. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you for letting me experiment with my mad scientist sounds.
Oh, well, you are welcome back here every single week. We're working with attitude. All righty, everybody. How was that? Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, that was nice.
That was cool. I thought that was pretty groovy. Wow. Let's do a quick round of GGN questions here. Let me ask you a rapid fire round of questions here. What's the first thing that you do when you wake up?
First thing I do is probably say hello to my family. Good morning.
Nice, nice, nice. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
I don't know. I think flying would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, flying.
I like that you enjoy your toys. You have an arsenal of fun things to do. Let's see. Germ theory or terrain theory?
What's that?
Germ theory or terrain theory?
Can you be more detailed? I'm not educated. Like
We'll
that.
end the rapid fire round of questioning. Let's get back to our topic at hand. What are some of the most popular strains that you find out there? What's hot? Who's got what? What's going on?
Right now, I like this strain called Mac 1. It was bred by the Capulator. You could look him up on Instagram. He also goes by Miracle Alien Cookies, the strain. It's won quite a few cannabis cups. He bred two really popular winning strains, I guess you could say cannabis cup winners in the last maybe 3 to 5 years, and he bred those with a landrace strain and came out with this really unique strain that's vigorous and seems to be a lot keefier and crystallier than most other strains. Some other strains I like are gelato crosses. There's one called the Runts that seems to be pretty popular. A lot of people are smoking that. And I personally like orange strains, Tangies. I like Skittles. But yeah, anything popular, I would say, is look up cannabis cups in 2020 or 2019, because who knows what they're doing for 2020 and
Are
COVID.
there more than one cannabis cup then, huh?
Yeah, there's cannabis cups in all over the world. We can have one right now here if we want, in your room.
Okay.
And we can publish it and say cannabis cup.
I'm not afraid.
Freshwater 2020, and if people look it up, we would have our little winners and whatever. And
Well, we have that to look forward to.
there's cannabis cups all over the world, so maybe the ones in your area or the ones you in an area think is cool.
Now, the biggest one in our area is the Emerald Cup, correct?
I think so. Yeah.
This show is brought to you by Lantern Farms of Mendocino, and their strain Green Lantern won the Emerald Cup in 2018. I have a shirt for you from Lantern Farms.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
It's a nice one.
Just my stuff. I love the Rasta lion in it.
Yeah, we'll check out what's underneath his foot.
He's got a big doobie or something. Oh, camp. Yes. He's stepping on a helicopter. Yes. Police in helicopter. Search for marijuana.
And there's a couple of their slaps.
Cool. Tell them the story. Yeah, I'd support this company for sure.
Green Lantern won the 2018 Emerald Cup with Ridgeline Farms, and then Ridgeline won it again in 2019. So, what about, I have a question about what people call gassy smells from the terps. Is that what it is? The terps that you're smelling?
Yeah,
when they call it gassy?
there's different strains that produce a skunkier type smell versus something that's like fruity or something that's like piney. I'm not sure if a lot of you viewers have tried like Trainwreck. We can say that one would be a piney type strain. It's got a lot of Durban poison in it, which is very piney tasting. And then you have fruity strains like oranges and tangies, and then you have gassy strains. And it's just to name a few that I think are gassy. The pinnacle of it would be OG Kush, Sour Diesel, certain types of Kushes, Girl Scout cookies, and then there's a whole bunch of hybrids that have been made from those strains that people are looking generally for gas or want gas. They usually want it to taste something that's not fruity or
Skunky.
piney.
So it is.
Right.
It is.
I would describe
okay.
gassy as more skunky.
Okay, got you. That makes sense to me. Now, what about, can you tell me what your preferences are personally for sativas and indicas? Maybe you could also tell people that aren't as familiar with the difference in between of them, what you find to be the
The
case.
sativa indica thing, I think, is a facade now because everything's a hybrid. For the most part, you're getting strains that are so blended with terpenes that, what is the definition of a sativa? Something with skinny leaves? Or is it something that makes you feel awake? Because you can make strains that are high in THC or low in THC, and they can have a specific leaf. Like through breeding, it's all kind of changed, and there's so many hybrids that there's not really any. It's like a kind of, I don't know, we need to start breaking it down more. Like sativa and indica, those terms are probably used maybe for the 70s and 60s to describe leaf structure or whether a plant made you feel tired or whether it gave you energy. But now we have all these terpenes, and as we're mapping these terpenes out, we're going to realize this specific terpene with this type of metabolism is going to make you feel sleepy. This with this amount of CBD in the plant and this amount of THC, that combination is going to couch lock you, or this one's going to heal you in a specific way that you need healed, or this one's not going to do you right because you just don't need this terpene or something. Your body has too much of something and a lot of people don't like piney tasting herb. Maybe they've had enough of it in their life to be like, I don't want that stuff, you know, and they only want the gas just because they've had enough of that terpene, or their systems. Your nose kind of generally knows what you need, I believe. Like, so if you go off what your nose is telling you and the things that your nose likes, that might help you with your healing also. But this is stuff that all needs to be proven. You know, if we can get out there and test people and be like, all right, these are your ailments and stuff, tell me which strains you like the best, and then they picked all the strains that had the terpenes and the combinations to heal that ailment, that would be something. You know, it's aromatherapy kind of stuff with cannabis as well.
I really like Jack Herrera. That's my favorite sativa. But that's one that I feel like is a genuine sativa. I don't know if it's a hybrid or not.
Jack Hare is like I know a lot of strains that come from it that has a lot of Durban in it, and so anything with
What does that
high
mean?
in Durban poison. Durban poison is one of the oldest strains. It's high in a bunch of different things that no other herbs have. Like for instance, it's the highest in THCV, and THCV is a cannabinoid that we're realizing it affects your appetite. It makes it so you're not hungry. So you know how they say cannabis makes you hungry? Well, certain types of cannabis will actually give you no appetite, you know, or hold your appetite off, and that's one of those strains that does that. So they might start using it down the road. CBD's hot right now. It's changing. This plant's wild, and it does what it wants, and it turns into so many different things. The way concentrates have changed in the last 10 years, it's just been crazy, you know. So I wonder what it's going to be like in another 10 years, you know.
Wow.
It's the access, though. We need access. Access to testing, access to just basically people.
What about
knowing.
THCA?
THCA, yep, that's been very popular for a lot of people. I think of THCA, or THCA is basically THC that hasn't been heated yet. And THCA you can get into your system, and you don't feel the effects like you would THC. You don't get that high, you don't get that drowsy feeling, because it hasn't been decarboxylated yet.
And so does that mean that you get a medicinal benefit without the euphoria?
Yes.
Oh.
Generally
Interesting.
speaking.
It's sure been great having you here. And,
thanks for
you know,
having
maybe
me.
we
It's
can
been
have
fun.
you chime in remotely when you're viewing the show at home, if you're doing that at some time. And, you know, I'd really like everybody to know about the website that you have, which is
www.ineedhemp, like hempclothing.com.
ineedhemp.com. And
My business is Divine Tribe. That's the brand I've been going under for since 2002.
And you can find him at Divine Tribe Vaporizers on Instagram.
Divine Tribe Vaporizers, Ceramic Vapes, and Divine Tribe Vapes.
All three of those. And I appreciate you as a friend and as a colleague, and it's a privilege to have had you here
goodbye.
today. Hey, everybody,
Take care.
stay tuned.
Thanks for tuning in. Cool.